So now let's welcome our next speaker, who is Bernard Scharf. He is a co-founder of 3 startups in the field of climate-resilient urban development and is a senior scientist at the University of National Resources and Life Sciences in Vienna. He is also a chief technical officer at GREENPASS, a software company and a planning tool that he will present today. Bernard, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Does it work? Yes. So many thanks for the invitation to be to contribute to this great conference. It's very interesting so far, and I'm looking forward to hear more. Yes, I was introduced already, and I have the pleasure to introduce you now to GREENPASS. And doing so, we will start with a little exercise. I would like to ask you to imagine a place that you like a lot. A green place, for instance, where you walk around in your spare time on the weekends, where you cycle, where you hike, where you walk. And this is exactly how we think that the city should be everywhere. So this place that you have in mind now, hopefully, should be at your doorstep, just like Ian told before. It should be very close to you, where you live. So we need to transform the city. We want to have green and livable cities because the city is the habitat of the human species, and we should make it fit our needs rather than fit the needs of car traffic. Yeah, so let's go on. This is the vision of our company, GREENPASS. We want to enable climate-fit real estate and open space to create sustainable and livable cities for today's and future generations. And we all know about the construction sector is one of the most responsible sectors for climate change, with 39% of the carbon emissions worldwide originating from construction, causing climate change, urban heat islands, pluvial flooding, fluvial floodings, health issues, and so on and so forth. We also know that most of our cities, the largest parts, have already been built, so we need to focus on retrofit. And nowadays, we should really build in a way that's future-proof and climate resilient for the health of the people, for the quality of life, to also comply with regulations. And doing that is not only a good thing for the people, a good thing for nature, biodiversity, but it's also increasing the value of the property in the mid-term or long term. Only thing is that, how shall we do that? Well, so how does this work? How can a design process work that accounts for climate resilience? Which tools do I need? Which expertise do I need? And what time will it cost? What money will it cost? And so on. And this is where we try to deliver a solution with our GREENPASS software. GREENPASS is, as Gitarre already said, it's a software as a service. So we deliver a software to landscape architects and architects who are our partners, and they can work with it. And we do the complicated stuff in the background. You will see about the complicated stuff soon enough. So we're the first SaaS solution for environmental impact assessment for real estate and open space. And this is a screen capture of our software. Yeah, we offer for projects, we offer basically 3 simple packages. It's a certification package if you want to communicate or if you want to provide a quality label for your project. It's the environmental package if you simply want to optimize your project towards climate resilience. And it's the EU taxonomy check, and I will talk about that later anyways. And all this will be available through our cockpit, which will be online this December, hopefully. So everything is accessible via the web. So what we do is we support projects from the early stages of planning phases to the finalization with tailored tools for every single step and processes and methods that are transparent and scientifically based. As it was mentioned, I'm a scientist, senior scientist too. So it's very important for us that you can rely on the information that we provide. With the certification process, we cover 6 urban challenges, which are climate, water, air, biodiversity, energy, and cost. And we calculate from high-resolution scientific simulations 30 quantitative indicators and we also have more than 20 qualitative indicators in our certification process. Very important to know, our certification is complementary to the green building certifications. We're working a lot with BREEAM and LEED and DGNB, you name it, together. So many projects are certified by the green building certificates and by GreenPass as well. So a short sidestep to the EU taxonomy. What is that? The EU taxonomy is a regulation from the European Union that's already in place. It concerns everyone who is offering products on the financial market. So, sorry. So basically, it's all investment funds, portfolio managers, but also pension care systems, everyone who is involved in the financial market. Also large companies that are required to provide more than just financial reporting. And of course, the European Union and the member states committed themselves to stick to their own taxonomy. This is going to be growing, so starting from next and the over next year, also medium-sized companies need to comply with the taxonomy. Which business sectors are involved? Briefly, almost every business sector is involved or covered by the taxonomy, and especially for us, it's the construction and real estate sector. What are the objectives? The objectives, there are 6 objectives defined in the taxonomy, which is climate mitigation and climate adaptation, and so on. So for the construction sector, this year, you need to comply with Objective 1 and 2, climate mitigation and adaptation. And you need to provide a proof that you make a significant contribution to Objective 1 or 2, and that you don't do any significant harm to the other objectives. This is what you need to deliver. How are you going to, you're requested to identify the risks of your project. So risk databases help a lot in that context. You need to define the climate scenarios that will be applied for your project. So if you have a building project that is going to stand there for 50 years, you will use climate projections from 2072 to that end to see how it will work in 50 years. You need to define measures to reduce the climate change risks. And then, of course, you need to evaluate how that works out, how the risk can be reduced. The taxonomy also says quite clearly what you need, how you need to do it. So you need to use high-resolution climate projections, the European Copernicus data, if you know that. Then you need to apply state-of-the-art methods to evaluate the risks today and in the future, as I said. And then you need to evaluate the climate adaptation measures and risk reduction, also again with state-of-the-art methods. So no Excel tables, no qualitative sentences from some experts. You need to use state-of-the-art, what the science can do today. This is a short insight how our report looks like. You have certain, wrong thing. You have KPIs, you have weather data, climate data, and statistics that provide the information. And in best case, you're conform with the EU taxonomy. And then you get this check. It's a box with a check for Ian. The problem is, and I will come to that now, is the EU taxonomy a game changer? And I have to tell you a clear Austrian yes and no. So yes, because the environmental impact of the projects, they have a financial impact. Why? Because if you don't comply, the financing of your project will be more expensive, or you will not have an financing from an investment for a green fund, like you have them in place now in Europe. So they will not give you any money, or the money that you need for your development will be more expensive. Green is not an option anymore. It's a must-have. It's not the question if we do grass or trees, or if we could leave them away and just pave it. No, you need to have nature-based solutions to cope with climate change situations in the future. Problem is, we have no quantitative objectives defined. So there is no indicator that tells you how you need to reduce the energy load, the thermal storage, and so on, defined in the regulation. You just need to do something that makes some impact. a tiny tree will do to be compliant if it's an improvement of the existing situation. So that's not really satisfying. And until now, the market didn't realize what's happening really, but they start to. So who is delivering our services? It's our urban climate architects. It's basically architectural and landscape architectural offices. There are more than 45 partners, trained partners in Europe at the moment in 11 different countries. None until now in Lithuania, so we'd be really happy to talk with you practitioners, landscape architects and designers if you would like to collaborate with us and become an urban climate architect. And this is how we apply the tool. In the early phase, in the master planning phase, we have a situation of an urban development site, a transformation from a brownfield to a housing district. So we check for the best. This is the original situation, so rather very ugly. This have been the different design approaches, more than 20. We checked them and we defined which is the best one in terms of climate resilience. And it's exactly this one. It also has something to do with building regulations, of course, not only the climate. And then we entered the concept design phase with a rough design of the buildings where we performed the first tests. So we built a digital twin, which you can see here. And then we did some analysis with the scientific software for the thermal comfort, for air temperature, for wind. And then you can find the weaknesses and the optimization potentials, obviously. This is the air temperature. You can see that the air is flowing in here. This is from climate databases taken. And it's cooled down all the way through the new urban district. So we are an air conditioning system. The Biotop City is an air conditioning system, cooling the air body by more than 2 degrees while it's flowing through it. And this is thanks to the buildings, the shading, and the greenery, the green roofs, the green facades, the trees, the grass, everything combined has a massive impact on urban heat. This is the thermal comfort, where we do some analysis and where we identify optimization areas and where we suggest measures how to cope with them and improve those. Same goes for wind, of course, for water, for strong wind, for downdraft, and so on and so forth. This is all in our scope. Here you can see the surface temperatures of the roofs, and you can see here, these ones are blue, obviously, and these are red. Difference is, here we had green roofs in place already in the concept design phase, and here we didn't. So we suggested make green roofs everywhere, and they did green roofs everywhere. So this heat is gone now. So let's go to the detailed design phase, where we look closer into the project and where we create reference scenarios. So this is the planned design. These are our reference scenarios where we learn how good or how bad the design is currently. And what we additionally had here is the comparison to the existing situation. So we wanted to know, do we improve the environmental impact or do we do harm to environment and the neighbors? So we're running a lot of simulations, a lot of evaluations, a lot of numbers. Here you have differentials map, so you can see the difference between the old situation and the planned situation. If there's something blue, it's cooler than it was before. I'll be happy to answer that later on, but I'm in a little hurry, as you realize. So these are our 5 most important key performance scores. So this is scientific quantitative indicators like the thermal load score, and you can see this is the old situation with the storage holes. This is the worst case reference scenario, and here is the plan and the optimized plan. So we're improving all those KPIs quite a lot with the new designs, moving trees around, changing tree species, unsealing, adding hedges, and so on and so forth. Finally, we could award the certification, and it's our first platinum certificate for an urban district with a 93% degree of fulfillment, which is really, really great. You need to believe me. And we were honored to hand that over. This is a visualization of the area, how it will look in something like 10 years, and how the impact is reducing air temperature again. This is the award event where our vice mayor from Vienna, Katrin Gahl, handed over the certificates to the involved developers. There were 6 developers involved. This is how it looks like today. So this is the micro-axis at night. This is our certificate on the wall, and you can see here the pipe going down, irrigating the green facade. We're collecting all the water, so we are a sponge city. We have large trees from the beginning. We have urban gardens on the street side. So this is social housing in Austria, by the way. 2/3 of this is social housing. We have green roofs with biodiversity, with bee feeding areas and so on. Structures for certain species. Urban gardens on top that people can rent. And we have a beautiful view to the mountain. In the back, you can see it on this picture, but here are the Alps. And this is the view from the roof terrace from one of those buildings in social housing. So there are some more impressions from other projects that you can see. That's not our only project. We did more than 200 projects until now in the last 3 years. This is the IKEA flagship store in downtown Vienna that we also supported from the very beginning. And it's a very beautiful building, and it's a public park. My time's up, so I just skipped through that to my final slide. This is in Germany, housing project. They had gold certification. This is a large supermarket chain that is in collaboration with us. And finally, we do have the urban quarter here in Belgium, in The Hague, which will be follow up and optimized over the next year. This is my final slide. And I think everybody should think about this citation from Barack Obama, and I think it's quite true, and you can read it by yourself. Thank you so much for your attention.